It's time for my review of the best of White Dwarf Magazine. Hello and welcome to yet another video here on the YouTube channel SDF Wargaming Studio. My name is Andreas Norwegian Viking and it's been a long time since I've been able to do a review on the channel for a model or for a book or anything else. And for those who regularly watch the channel, you might know the reasons for this. Number one, COVID-19 is doing things difficult to do anything really, and the other thing is I recently got twins. They're now 5 months old and still require a lot of attention every single day, so I'm off work until November, and until then I spend every single day with them, so just getting to the studio is difficult, and keeping the grand campaign going has been the most important thing for me in a while. So that's what we've been doing, trying to film as many episodes as we could for that one. But I got some time waiting for some food, so why not do a review of the best of White Dwarf Magazine, not the three ones that was released in 2002, 2003 and 2004, but the new one with content from all eras, Middle-earth. So first of all, the premise of this book was to get articles from past 19 years in print again. Most of these articles are from before the new Middle-earth system kicked off. Some are from the Hobbit era, but I think 9 out of 22 or 23 articles is from like Fellowship, Two Towers, Return the King, Blue Book, and so on. So book is hardcover, nice hardcover with a ribbon, and features young Bilbo Baggins on the front reading his contract before going off to Erebor. Nice map on the first page, or the spine, and has a good quote from Gandalf. The writing, which at first was as clear as a Ritter's flame, has all but disappeared on the first page. So we have a small introduction with basically the premise of the book. The book promises to feature battle reports, battle companies, campaign, narrative scenarios, additional rules, tactical articles, hobby articles, and paint splatter, so painting articles. Could possibly define that as hobby articles, but yeah. So the first article we come on is Orcs Attack. Now this is a scenario released in the first or the second White Dwarf after Fellowship of the Ring came out. It's a narrative scenario, well, not narrative scenario because there are basically no heroes in it. But it is a battle between Alessio Cavatore's elves and Numenorians, I believe, versus Rick Priestley, who has a bunch of orcs and goblins. So it has a scenario. Yeah, so participants: Elrond, 4 elves. 10 elves and 9 men of Gondor, so a total of 20 models, 2 orc captains, and then 15 orcs and 25 goblins. So it's a sizable scenario. I think we played it in the grand campaign. I think it's probably one of the very early ones, like first 10 maybe, so you can go check that out if you want to. The scenario is not just a battle report in itself, it also explains turn sequence, the way the game is played. So it's more of an larger introductory game in print with some really nice pictures, really cool battle. So if you don't own that White Dwarf, I think the battle report is cool. It does explain the basics of the game, which hasn't changed the 2 decades it's been out. So yeah, it's a cool battle report, and at least for me, it brings nostalgia, because I got that White Dwarf on the day of the release in my mailbox. As usual, I think I had a subscription back then, and I was super excited for Lord of the Rings. We played the Last Line scenario on the day of release in my local games workshop. Every customer who wanted got a sprue of either goblins or Numenorians and elves to paint like the 2 weeks before. I was cheeky, so I think I got 5 or 6 sprues of elves and men in total. Painted everything up, and came on the day of release. Bought my game and played the participation game as well. Next article is Flight to Freedom from the Hobbit era. We have Thorin's company with Gandalf and Bilbo against a horde of goblins, including the Goblin King himself. We have Adam Troke leading the goblins, and who's that? That is... I can't put a name to that face. Who is that? Sorry about this. Dan's... Oh, yeah. He's called Dan. I should know this. It's embarrassing. So, it is one of the scenarios from the old Hobbit strategy battle game rules manual, and it basically features everything, and it's a beautiful scenery. If you see that, it's an absolutely stunning battlefield with gangplanks and everything all over the place. So I really think this is a cool way of showing off the plastic scenery they released, in addition to like several cool rules such as tossing people over and climbing and jumping and stuff like that. It has a good section which is what we learned. So of course this is also a kind of an introductory game. It came out in I want to say White Dwarf, either weekly or Visions, because they had those 2 back then, in conjunction to the release of the Hobbit strategy battle game. And there's a review of the battle, and it's what we learned. So, it has some cool insight on the scenario. And then for the third battle report, we have Battle for Erebor, which is a fairly recent one. This was just after the Pelnor Fields box set came out, I think. And it features Jay Clare, rules writer for Middle-earth, and the old product manager, now manager of the entire media team of Games Workshop, I think, Adam Troke. We have Azog's Legion, played by Jay, versus Iron Hills from Adam. And yeah, it's a huge battle. But it's also kind of the new style format of battle reports, so it clumps turns together. Not a bad thing if it's a long game, so you don't have to spend that many pages, but the entire battle report is, like, including army selection, is like 10 pages. There's some pretty fairly sized armies in there. But yeah, it's a short battle report, and it has a funny, hideous beast of the match. And last battle report, I believe, is the Battle for Pelnor Fields, also featuring Jay Clare and Adam Troke. Also made in the new era of Middle-earth role-playing game. Wow, that's the old one. I haven't played that in ages. Middle-earth strategy battle game, which has the Witch King's horde with 3 Murmugs and 3 trolls, versus a a Rohan and Army of the Dead Army. And yeah, it's absolutely huge. It has a like big Battle of Pelnor Fields vibe. It's played on a 6x4 foot table, so it's manageable in size. I think one of the ones in either one of the old books or the new books is played on 8x6. So we could film this version of the Pelnor Fields inside the studio. And it's also long-ish. It's like 10 to 12 pages. Then we come to Battle Company's content, and that's one of the things I think this book is really, really good for, is if you're enjoying Battle Companies. Because not only does it have a campaign featuring some GBHL members, not the actual GBHL podcast channel, but members of the GBHL. See James Brond in there, Jay Clare, Sam Jeffrey, and other familiar faces. And they basically have a campaign with the fiefdom, Ironhill, Gundabad, and Harrod Warband. And yeah, it's a cool campaign. Features some very, very small one-page battle reports in the campaign, and it's a good place for inspiration if you want to start a Battle Company's campaign. And the next bit is Search for the Stone, and you have a evil Battle Company's narrative campaign. So a Battle Company's narrative campaign is basically that you play roughly 2 or 3 games, and then you play a narrative game, and then you play 2 or 3 games, and then you play a narrative game. And it gives you some cool rewards. So you have 5 scenarios, I believe. I think there's 5. Yeah, 5 scenarios in total. 2-page scenarios, so quite a long article. And yeah, it's good. Really enjoy this. We used some of this in our last Battle Companies campaign here at the studio as well. But then we had it in 3 separate White Dwarfs. So it's a good thing to have this book if you're interested in Battle Companies. And I think it's well worth it, depending on your viewpoint of the price tag on this book. So yeah, you have 5 really cool scenarios with some cool rewards. Then you have a narrative scenario, and that's the main reason I really like this book. The narrative scenarios, and it lists quite a lot of them. We've played nearly every single one in the Grand Campaign, so as I mentioned them, you can just search them up on our YouTube channel and you can check them out being played. But you have the Duel of Zirak Sigil with Gandalf versus the Balrog in a special non-Middle-earth SBG rule game. You have Fiends and Fireworks, Gandalf on cart versus a horde of goblins. I think we spoke about this one when we actually did the scenario for the Grand Campaign, Fatty Bolger's Great Escape, and I think either me or Wild said that it wouldn't be reprinted because Fatty Bolger, kind of a name that can spark some controversy these days. Of course, it's a name from the book. If I were to reprint this, I would reprint it as Fredegar Bolger's Great Escape. But yeah, that's a matter of politics, really, and preference. And I'm very happy the scenario is reprinted anyway, because it's one of the absolute best scenarios ever written for Middle-earth SBG. Bar none. It has Fredegar Bolger, 8 Hobbit Archers, and 3 Ringwraiths on a 4x4 foot table with 4 Hobbit holes. It doesn't seem like a very good scenario. It does seem very straightforward. But it is absolutely fantastic. I recommend you play this and go watch our playthrough of this on our channel in the Grand Campaign. Absolutely fantastic. And then we have the Hunt for Gollum. Also played that one on the campaign. Quite a large battle. 2 models of good versus like 30, 40 evil models. But it is a fun scenario. Gollum like slinking around the battlefield trying to hide. You have 2 linked scenarios, the Chase and Hunting Party. One of them is a fixed version from the There and Back Again. No, not There and Back Again. From the rules manual, the Hobbit Strategy Battle Game rules manual. And the other one is like a prequel part. No, not a prequel part, a sequel part to it. So it's basically scenario 2.5 of the Hobbit Grand Campaign. And they are good. They're good scenarios. And we played them both on the campaign. You have The Bigger They Are. What will happen if you pit a Balrog versus a Mumakil? 1-page article. Really fun to just have 3 games, see who's the victor. And then we have 2 narrative scenarios featuring Radagast the Brown. So there's Attack of Rosgobel, and it's the exploration of Dol Guldur. I don't think we did any of these on the channel. I think we were well past The Hobbit at the stage these were released. Maybe we did one of them. We did another Attack of Rosgobel, which was the Ents. We're protecting Rosgobel. Yeah. So we didn't do this one, I believe. So next time we do the campaign, in like 6 years when we're done, then we'll play this one, when we eventually get to it. But they look cool. They look absolutely fantastic, and it kind of did something we wanted to do with our own version of Radagast versus I think there was a Castellan of Dol Guldur we put in a chase scene with Radagast. But yeah, it did that. Then you have some rules, riverboat rules, and when meanwhile play campaign scenarios, I usually bring the actual scenario. But when the scenario requires extra rules that's been written in a previous White Dwarf that scenario is from, then I don't always remember to bring that. So I think we've needed the riverboat rules for 2 or 3 scenarios, and I've forgotten them every single time. Now they're in the hardback book, so I won't forget, because we have all the hardback books here at the studio, which is good. I do wish that they included the building your own riverboat article that was featured as well, but it's only the rules for how they work in the game. There's a fantastic article how to build these boats that was released alongside it, I think maybe the following month or the same month. Then you have alternate rules for fighting in Lake Town using the Games Workshop plastic Lake Town houses. And a special scenario, which we also played, Master's Horde, which was absolutely fantastic fun. Stonking bunches of fun. So also, you can watch that on the Grand Campaign playlist. Then we have the Armies of MiddleEarth, so some gaming and tactical articles featuring heroes and armies, tactical article about magic of Middle-earth, and these are all recent. Both of those are recent. Then we have a modeling workshop, I think from which White Dwarf was that? It's a while ago. About Mordor terrain, so how to paint and build lava, how to make a special Eye of Sauron marker twisted trees, rocky outcrops, stuff like that. And it's a nice article. It explains some of the basic premises of building your own terrain, which GW has had a history of not being that great of in recent years, because they mainly release their own plastic terrain kits these days, instead of doing fantastic books like How to Make Wargames Terrain, which was a absolutely magnificent tome of details. And also the old journey books had loads of terrain building articles in them. And then we've come to the flight of the Nazgul. This is an article that has made a huge impression on me. This is Nick Baton's 9 strong, all named, all mounted on Felbeast Ringwraith army. And I wanted to do this project forever, ever since I looked at this article and they released the plastic one. And I have every single bit I need to make this army, and in a week or so you will see a grand campaign scenario featuring a Ringwraith on Felbeast, but that one is borrowed. It's not me who painted that one, because if I want to paint a Ringwraith on Felbeast, I need to paint every single one, which will then again mean I have to paint 9 Felbeast and 17 Riders, because I'm an idiot. But yeah, it has very, very cool shots of all 9? No, 7 of the 9. 7 of the 9 with a fantastic shot of Theoden versus the Witch King. But that is a fantastical article. If you want inspiration on how to convert your own mounted Felbeasts with the named ones on it, this is a great article for that. Then we have some modelling and painting workshops, and these are all recent. Well, both of them. So it's How to Paint Theoden. Was released in White Dwarf alongside the Pelnor Fields release. And then you have Gandalf the White and Pippin, Citadel of the God. God of the Citadel. So 2 painting guides, including how to paint Shadowfax. Good articles. Nothing wrong with these 2 articles at all. Has a good tip of painting Pippin separately, which some hobbies might forget. And that's basically it. Featuring a picture of old Bilbo. I've thought of an ending for my book in the back. And yeah, it is not the biggest book, and it's not for everyone. So here's my review. For me, it's a great book. For me personally. For the channel, it's a great book. For me personally, means I don't have to have... I can retire some White Dwarfs from my active shelf of my Middle-earth library. Because in my Middle-earth library I have every single White Dwarf with Middle-earth content in it, as well as every single rulebook ever written, including all the D'Agostini books and everything. I can now pluck out some White Dwarfs and retire them to a box, and that will save me space. Pardon. For the studio, we don't have to look for many of these articles. We don't have to look for the boat rules, and we don't have to we can find stuff we're looking for more easily. So that's a great one. For the nostalgic collector who maybe had these White Dwarfs when they came out, I'm talking now about the ones released in the early days of Middle-earth, and you want to relive that with maybe the Orcs Attack articles, the Duel of Ziraxigil, the other early scenarios released in this book. Fantastic. But it's not. It is not for everyone, and the reason for that is possibly the price tag. The previous Best of White Dwarf magazines, there were 3 ones released. One in 2002, which had content from the Fellowship of the Ring era. One in 2003 with content from the Two Towers era, and one in 2004 with content from the Return of the King era. And those were not as big books, maybe half the page count, but they had much more articles from that era. This is spanning 19 years of Middle-earth history with Games Workshop, and although many of those years have been inactive and not featuring a lot of content for the game, it's still hundreds of articles they could have chosen from, maybe even about 1,000 articles. And best is subjective. For me, this is a good book. I don't think it's the best book, but it's a good book. For another person, it's nothing they'd be interested in. Luckily, it was released on mail order only, direct only through Games Workshop, and they had the whole table of contents on the web page before you could order it. Or, well, you could see the table of contents before you ordered it. So I hope that few people were disappointed not knowing what was in it, because of the twins and because of release dates, I couldn't get my review out before it was out, before now. So I think there's a number of people which this book will be fantastic for. Particularly for Battle Companies players who like narrative scenarios. It's a great resource, and for nostalgia's sake, for those who lived the first releases of the game, Fellowship, Two Towers, up until the Blue Book, fantastic to see those articles back in print. But everyone else, feel free to skip it. There's nothing in this book that is vital to play the game. Not competitively, not like tournament scene, match play, those kind of things. Doesn't include a single thing you need for that. But for scenarios, for narrative play, for having battles in Lake Town and Mordor, stuff like that, great stuff. So I usually don't give out marks or anything for stuff I review, so it's a split decision for me. For me personally, for the studio, fantastic book, thank you for releasing it. For everyone else, make up your own mind. Now you've seen all the content in it, I'll try to show you and speak of it as best as I can. And there's also, if you want to delve into it, on the Games Workshop web page in the store, when you click on this one, there's a picture with the entire table of contents, so you can then Google search your way to the articles themselves, or at least to grainy picture somewhere in the dark recesses of the interwebs, and you can find what you will be missing if you don't get this book. So yeah, get it. Don't get it. I hope you get it. I hope you buy it if you want it, because if enough people buy this book, maybe we'll get a Best of White Dwarf Magazine #2, which can feature some more subjective best articles from the whole period of the game. And I'm very happy to have another book in my shelf in place of some old White Dwarfs. So that's my review. What do you think? Do place your comments in the comment section below. Tell me if you think I'm right or am I wrong. Do you agree, not agree? I welcome all comments, constructive criticism and like. But until next time, I've been Andreas Norwegian Viking, and this was my review of the Best of White Dwarf Magazine. Please comment, like, share and subscribe, and do consider supporting us on Patreon using the link in the description below. It is a fantastic way for you to support our efforts on the channel, and it gives us the monetary means to expand, improve, and give you more cool videos each and every week. Brackets, maybe not in Corona times. So if you're interested in that, please click the link, but more importantly, support your hobby.